news. I speak truth to power without fear. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes before I get started. So I hope that you all can let me know if you hear me fine. I would appreciate it. Throw up the ones if you can hear me. I'm going to wait till people start to tune in. This is an impromptu live stream. I see that we got like a couple of people in here. So if you all can let me know. Okay, I see Big Game Arnthal says that he can hear me fine. All right, so I'm going to get right into it. Peace to the brother, Big Game. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be a quick hangout. Somebody that means a lot to me, sent me a message telling me about the story involving Kanye West. And I'm just going to go to this Washington Post article. Actually, before I go to the Washington Post article, I'm going to go to Kanye West's Twitter page and just read directly from his page. Now, we know that Kanye West has been involved in a lot of controversy recently. We know about that controversial meeting that he had at the White House. I did a video about it. I did a couple of videos about it, as a matter of fact. Also, we know about this Brexit thing that Candace Owens has been promoting, and she said that Kanye West helped design the graphics for it and gave approval for it and this and that. And basically, she's trying to tie Kanye West to this whole Brexit movement where you have these right-wing Republicans talking about they're leaving the Democratic Party and embracing the Republican Party. You have these black conservatives, a lot of these YouTube personalities that are real popular on here, people that aren't really their own people. And I talked about this in my last video on my I Declare War channel. You have these people that are basically puppets of Turning Point USA, a white conservative organization that basically pays these Negro mouthpieces to get out front and pretend like they are actual leaders in the black community. These people have no genuine black following. Most of their followers are white people that use them as buffer Negroes. So let's get into this right now. I'm going to show a couple of, share my screen so you all can see this story. But before I do show, I want to shout out the people in the chat room. Shout out to Confidence. Shout out to Sister. Shout out to Nikki Justice. Peace and blessings to each and every one of you. So let's share this screen. And then I'm going to read from some of these tweets and then share my thoughts about this whole situation. I'm just going to go directly to Kanye West's Twitter page. And then I'm going to reference a Washington Post article. So as you can see, this is Kanye West's Twitter page. He put out some tweets today that has generated some controversy where people are basically wondering where he stands with respect to Donald Trump, Candace Owens, and the Republican Party. So this is what Kanye West said. And I'm going to go through these step by step. He said, I support those who risk their lives to serve and protect us, and I support holding people who misuse their power accountable. I believe in love and compassion for people seeking asylum and parents who are fighting to protect their children from violence and war. Now, we know that that statement right there in and of itself is contrary to everything that Donald Trump is about. Donald Trump doesn't have any kind of compassion for people seeking asylum. The far right, these Turning Point people and these far right Republicans, they don't support this compassion that Kanye West is talking about. They don't support asylum for these people that are fleeing war-torn areas in Latin America, places ruled by drug lords and all that kind of stuff. They don't support those people coming to the United States. In fact, on Fox News, they constantly refer to those people as invaders. And, on CNN, they did a piece about this, just showing how over and over again, you have these right-wing people on Fox News calling these people seeking asylum invaders. That's what they describe them as. So they don't have compassion for these people. The far right has zero compassion for these people. These Negro um, apologists, these wannabe conservatives, they do nothing but parrot the talking points of their white paymasters who tell them to put this stuff out here. This anti-immigrant sentiment, calling these people invaders and stuff, parroting the language of people like that white supremacist who shot up that synagogue in Pittsburgh, killing 11 people. They are parroting the rhetoric of these kinds of hate mongers. So clearly they're not, their position is contrary to this position that Kanye West took in his tweet. So basically, he's in opposition to a lot of these things that these people were talking about, these people that he formerly supported. Now, I'm going to get into it later, whether or not this is a genuine change of heart or whatever. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But for now, this whole position about love and compassion for people seeking asylum is contrary to what Donald Trump has been all about. And then Kanye West goes on to say this. He says, I would like to thank my family, loved ones, and community for supporting my actual beliefs and my vision for a better world, my actual beliefs. Then he goes on to say this. He said, I introduced Candace to the person who made the logo. I didn't want their name on it. No, he said this. He said, they didn't want their name on it, so she used mine. So instead of using the person's name that actually designed the logo, they decided to go ahead and use Kanye West's name, put him out there because, he's a superstar in the rap world and stuff like that. He's somebody that's a celebrity, somebody that gets attention. So they put his name out there. And he said, I never wanted any association with Blexit. I have nothing to do with it. He's disowning that whole Blexit thing. I mean, as people know, the press was reporting that Kanye West was linked to it, and I did a video about it on my I Declare War channel, where they're basically trying to use Kanye West and his brand and his name to bring attention to this ridiculous Blexit movement that these people are promoting out here. And I'm glad he called them out on this. I'm glad that he said, well, hold up, I didn't co-sign this stuff. This is not what I support. I don't want to be associated with that stuff. And he's basically saying, you just used me. You used my name to promote your agenda. And I'm glad that he's coming to his senses. Hopefully that's what's happening. Because that Blexit thing is a joke. What are they exiting? They're talking about leaving the plantation. These buffoons are doing nothing but leaving one quote unquote plantation and going to another. That's all they're doing. In fact, they're going to a worse plantation by going to the Republicans, as I pointed out time and time again. It's the Republicans that are hostile to the interests of Black people when it comes to social programs, cutting vital social programs that Black communities need. There's disproportionate poverty in the Black community, and they're cutting programs like Head Start that benefits Black people. They're trying to cut programs like Section 8, programs that disproportionately benefit Black people. Food stamps, cutting that, getting rid of affirmative action. Putting together a sham voter fraud commission designed to suppress Black voters, downplaying the significance of racial profiling and police brutality in Black communities. That's what your Republican Party represents. That's what you're running to, a party that doesn't give a damn about you, a party that doesn't need you, a party that only puts you out there as a token, not even to get Black votes, but to convince other white people that they're not racist. That's the only reason why they use you people. You are nothing but pawns. And apparently Kanye West is coming to his senses and realizing that they exploited him. He says this, he said, my eyes are wide open And now I realize I've been used to spread messages I don't believe in. I am distancing myself from politics and completely focusing on being creative. So let's go to your comments before I move on to provide my commentary on this issue, because I got a lot to say, as y'all can imagine, man. It's almost like it's almost like that scene from Get Out. Just bear with me a second. It's almost like that scene from Get Out. You know, when the brother has his camera, his phone camera, and it accidentally like flashes. It accidentally flashes and flashes in the guy's face and stuff like that. And he comes to his senses and his nose starts to run and he's no longer hypnotized and brainwashed for a second. He has a moment of clarity and then he tells the other brother to get out, to get out. He's like, get out, because he's like came to his senses. And that's what it seems like Kanye West is doing for the moment. For the moment, he seems to have come to his senses. But we know how it is with Kanye West. He's not reliable in that respect. I mean, the next thing you know, just like in that film, they're going to get him in a room, sit him in front of, some hypnotist, and they're going to do one of these numbers, and that brother's going to be back in the sunken place. So I'm not holding out much hope for Kanye West. Hopefully he's come to his senses, but we never know with Kanye West, given his track record. But yeah, let's see what y'all are saying, and then I'm gonna get into my commentary. I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, so Nikki Justice said, I don't care. They have no right to come here. They are invaders, alien invaders. I mean, I understand what people are saying about that, but look, my whole point is this, man. This nation is a nation of immigrants. I don't support this idea of like all these people coming at once, like this caravan or anything like that. But this nation is a nation of immigrants. Most of the people in this country come from other countries. Most of us do, whether involuntarily or voluntarily. Most of us are not natives to this land. The native people were destroyed through genocide. You have some remnants, but for the most part, they were destroyed through genocide. And just about every other group that's here in America is an immigrant group. This is a nation of immigrants. You have the colonizers, these white colonizers who took somebody else's land, having the audacity to tell people that they can't come to this country. You got a Donald Trump trying to get rid of, naturalization, where people who are born in this country become citizens. When this man, this damn hypocrite, has an immigrant for his wife. This man has no problem with white people coming to this country. But when it comes to people of color, he refers to their countries as shithole countries. Again, that's another reason why it's so idiotic for these black conservatives to support a Donald Trump. But my point is this, man, we're a nation of immigrants. Who are these colonizers and settlers to tell somebody else they can't come to this country? Part of this country was a part of Mexico. I mean, so, that's my whole thing about this, man. I don't have any problem with legal immigration, and I think that something needs to be done about immigration. There needs to be reasonable reforms and all that kind of stuff. But I don't buy into this right-wing conservative agenda, this anti-immigrant. And all that is a racist ideology. These people fear the browning of America. That's all that this anti-immigrant sentiment is about. It's about xenophobia and racism, period. That's what it's about. These people fear the browning of America, and they fear so-called white genocide. That's why they're so hostile to immigration. That's what that issue is about. So it's just unfortunate that you got so many of our people that have bought into this anti-immigrant sentiment, not realizing that it's not serving Black people's interests. There are studies done that talk about how these immigrants come into the country, they don't take away jobs. There's no definitive study proving that immigrants are taking jobs from African Americans. There's no study about that. In fact, there are studies that talk about how more people come into this country creates a greater demand for goods and services, and that creates more job opportunities for Americans. So I just had to get that off my chest. I mean, they're using that terminology of invaders when the white man is the original invader of this country. They are the invaders around the world, invading people's land, taking people's land, exploiting people's land. That's what they do. Um, yeah, so that's my position on that, man. I just think that if we want people to have compassion for us, we need to have compassion for others, man. I just think that the narrow-mindedness um, has to go, man. And I think that we need to be you just more open-minded in our thinking. And we need to look for opportunities to work with others instead of, to have this go it alone mentality. So yeah, let's continue on. And then I'm going to get into my commentary on this Kanye West thing. I want to provide my thoughts about, his statements. Yeah, man, those right wingers, they don't have any real arguments. They don't have a leg to stand on. I will debate any of these people, man. Any of them. Whether it's Jesse Lee Peterson, whether it's Larry Elder, whether it's Candace Owens, whether it's that Brandon Tatum or that Uber guy or any of these people, Anthony Brian Logan, I'll debate any of these people because they don't stand on facts, man. They don't stand on facts when it comes to their support, their blind allegiance to a Republican Party that couldn't care less about them. A Republican Party that views them as dispensable. These people are a non-factor in the Republican Party. The Republican Party doesn't need you Negroes. They don't need you to win elections. All they are using you for is a buffer against charges of racism. They're using you to spread their talking points, their racist talking points, while at the same time they can avoid charges of racism by having you say the very racist things that they want to say. It's no mistake that so many of these right-wing Republicans are some of the most anti-Black people ever. Some of these Black people saying the most derogatory things about their own race of people constantly. But they have cover because they are like white men in blackface. So let me continue on. Yeah, but it's like he had a temporary awakening, man, for a second. And he's probably going to go back to sleep. Um, yeah, I mean, people can nitpick about what Obama did and what Obama didn't do, but Obama did far more than a lot of people give him credit for, man. And really, I'm just sick of people pretending like Obama did nothing for Black people. I mean, it's like a night and day difference when you compare Obama to this Donald Trump. And it's a side topic, but I'm just going to touch on this real quick. Obama defended affirmative action. Obama defended voting rights. Obama sent his Justice Department to investigate all these police departments around the country. Obama entered consent decrees with these police departments to end discriminatory practices in places like this place where I live, Baltimore, and Ferguson, and all these other places. Obama did that. Obama is the one that helped lead to the low unemployment rate in the Black community with the stimulus package, with his efforts to bail out Wall Street. Obama did that. Obama is the one that put into place a Brothers Keepers program. Obama is the one that passed an executive order calling for excellence in black education. That's what Obama did. Obama is the one that helped get the Fair Sentencing Act passed, an act that reduced the sentencing disparity between crack and powder cocaine, a disparity that led to the mass incarceration of black people. Obama did that. Obama changed some of the policies with respect to the Justice Department and how they would deal with nonviolent drug offenders, getting rid of mandatory minimums for nonviolent drug offenders. Those are some of the things that Obama did. Obama granted clemency to many nonviolent drug offenders, many of whom are African American. That's what Obama did. Now, of course, there's room for criticism, things that people could say he should have spoke on this, he should have spoke on that. But Obama did many things that are beneficial to black people. The Affordable Care Act, whether people want to acknowledge it or not, was beneficial to black people. Beneficial in terms of black people and other people being covered for pre-existing conditions, being not being denied coverage based on that. Many people who did not have any kind of health insurance at all are now insured under Obama, so-called Obamacare. So Obama's done a lot of things. I mean, and it's just time for us to quit telling these fairy tales, presenting this idea that Obama's done nothing for black people, when all you have to do is look at what Trump is doing and you can see a night and day difference. All right, so let me, I think I made my points in that area. Yeah, so they're really tried to exploit Kanye West, and I'm gonna get into the comments, my commentary on that in a second. But I want to see what you're saying. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about that, B Money. I'm gonna talk about how these conservatives respond to Kanye West after this moment of clarity. Yeah, I have to talk about that. Yeah, just bear with me a second. Hollow Ninja said, make the live stream nice and long too. Yeah, I can't do those long live streams, y'all. I mean, first of all, I know that I don't watch long live streams. If something goes past an hour, I'm not watching it, man. I just don't have the time to invest into YouTube like that. I like when people get to the point and they don't ramble and, talk about irrelevant stuff. But I feel you, man. Maybe one day I'll do one of those long hangouts, man. But yeah, let me go into my commentary about Kanye West. So, as B Money was pointing out, I just wonder what's going to happen now. I wonder if all those people that were heaping all this praise on Kanye West are going to turn their backs on him now. I wonder if these same people that praised him for being, such a courageous person, somebody that's an innovator, somebody that's a great thinker. I wonder how all these people are going to react now. I wonder if all those people that defended his mind state and his ridiculous minstrel show meeting with Donald Trump, I wonder what these people are going to say now that Kanye West has basically told them he's not going to be used now and he's going to step away from politics. I wonder what all those people are going to have to say now. All those Fox News people that had all this praise for him, those right-wing white conservatives that suddenly have all this praise for this black man that, they didn't care nothing for until relatively recently. I wonder what they're going to have to say for about this whole situation. I wonder what your Candace Owens is going to have to say. Candace Owens is a joke. She's a flip flopper. She is a fraud. This woman didn't even support Donald Trump 2 years ago, and now she's all on his nuts, acting like she was his, biggest fan. She's his biggest fan all of a sudden. That woman is a joke, man. This woman condemned civil rights organizations when it was civil rights organizations that helped protect her when she raised charges of racism while she was going to high school. So she's a complete joke, man. So I wonder if she's going to turn her back on Kanye West, if all of a sudden he's not going to be a great thinker now. All of a sudden he's not going to be some brave person now. All of a sudden he's just going to be, the same person that we recognize him as somebody that has mental issues, somebody that has challenges. I wonder if all of a sudden these people that love him so much are going to turn their back on him now. And I wonder what Donald Trump is going to say. I wonder how long it's going to take before Donald Trump starts to insult Kanye West just like he insults every other black person, just like he insulted those football players that decided to participate in that national anthem protest. Those football players that he called sons of bitches. I wonder if he's going to have similar colorful language for Kanye West that he had for them. I wonder if he's going to have the same colorful language that he had for Omarosa when she left his administration and called him out. He referred to her as a dog. A dog, basically calling her a bitch. That's what he did. I wonder if he's going to have similar colorful language like that for Kanye West. And the thing that I'll say about this, I can't put too much hope into this, this recent change that we see with Kanye West, like him basically calling these people out for using him, exploiting him, and basically trying to pimp him. I can't take it too seriously because this guy is all over the place. 1 minute he's doing this, 1 minute he's doing that. 1 minute he's, talking about the new slaves. The next minute he's talking about we need to abolish the 13th Amendment and slavery is a choice. 1 minute he's talking about, Bush doesn't care about black people. The next minute he's all on Donald Trump's nutsack, shining his shoes and kissing his ass and all that stuff and hugging him, treating him like he's some kind of father figure or some kind of role model. And now today he's talking about he doesn't agree with, this lack of compassion that these people have. I can't take Kanye West seriously. And I think that it is a good idea for him to just get out of politics, period. Because this is, after all, a man who didn't even vote, man. Somebody that's not even political at all until relatively recently. Somebody that acknowledges not even reading, man. How can somebody even value somebody's opinion like that? Somebody that's unlearned, somebody that's not political, somebody that doesn't even vote is all of a sudden going to be viewed as some kind of great political thinker. To me, that's absurd and it's disingenuous. And these people that have vouched for Kanye West because he's seems to have supported Donald Trump, now they're going to turn their back on him. Now we're going to find out how these people really feel about him. And it's just a shame that he was basically allowed himself to be exploited. And it's a shame that he didn't have good people around him, a good team around him to guide him, to put him in good situations, to make him avoid these types of situations, man. Because he looks like a complete fool. And it's just sad that because of him, I think that because he wore that Make America Great Again hat, he helped popularize that stuff. That's part of the reason why all those black conservatives were running around with that hat on, is because he set the tone for that. And, I'm glad that he's having a change of thought. But again, I can't take him seriously because he's all over the place. And I really think this may be just an episode of his bipolar character and the issues that he's dealing with, that where he goes from one extreme to the next. That must be what it's about. But I can't take this man seriously, who on one minute he's talking about this conscious stuff, and then on the next minute, he's talking, he has casting calls where he only wants, biracial women. He doesn't want black women there. I can't take somebody seriously like that. I can't take a black man seriously that actually marketed goods that had Confederate symbols on it. I can't take this guy seriously. So I'm not one of these people that's going to all of a sudden jump on the, I love Kanye West bandwagon because he had a temporary change of heart. I stand where I stood before. This brother needs help. He needs a team around him to protect him and his brand. That's what he needs. Because whoever's advising him now, they're doing a poor job of it. They're doing a poor job of managing his image and his brand, and just protecting him from these situations where he is being allowed, where people are able to exploit him and pimp him. Yeah, so those are some of my thoughts about this, man. I think that it would be a great thing if he just gets out of politics and just focuses on his music. Just like it would have been a great thing if Ben Carson never got into politics. Ben Carson was somebody, for instance, that I had great respect for. He was somebody, a homie from Detroit and all that kind of stuff, a man that came from humble beginnings to become one of the greatest surgeons in the country and all that kind of stuff. And he squandered that great legacy by affiliating with a racist like Donald Trump, by running with that ridiculous right-wing conservative party, the Republican Party. A party that has a tent that's large enough to fit white supremacists under that tent. How are you going to share a tent with Klansmen, with neo-Nazis, with the alt-right, as a black man? How can you do that? How do you explain that? These people want to talk about the Democrats founded the KKK 100-something years ago, but yet they have no problem with the party that is a sanctuary for white racists, white supremacists. They have no problem with that. They're okay with that. They make excuses for that. They try to ignore that. And one of these coons was actually on here on YouTube defending the alt-right, making excuses for the alt-right while attacking Black Lives Matter. I mean, that just tells you how lost some of these people are, how clueless they are. These people are nothing but puppets. And all you have to do is go to the comment sections of their videos, and you will see that these people are not their own. They're not supported primarily by black people. They are supported by their white sponsors, their white paymasters. That's who they're supported by. That's who comes to my comment section trying to attack me when I call out these puppets and mouthpieces for what they are. So we're going to see their true colors when we see how they deal with Kanye West. All these Fox News people want to act like all of a sudden they love Kanye West when they couldn't give a damn about him. They only love him because they can exploit him. And all these foolish Negroes that were defending Kanye West nonsense at that White House. Now I wonder what they're going to have to say now, man. Now that he has, in some respects denounced his own affiliation with Trump, and in the whole Brexit, and this Candace Owens clown. So yeah, man, I just had to get this off my chest. So I'm gonna see what y'all have to say before I sign out. I don't want to keep y'all around too long. Keep y'all watching this too long. But I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about when you're saying the illegals are protected in Maryland. Oh, and you're from Maryland. I mean, while we disagree on this issue, I mean, we agree on a lot of other issues. But I just had to point out my disagreement. Again, shout out to Nikki Justice. I didn't know you were here in Maryland. I don't know what part of Maryland you're in, but and I know you have a thriving YouTube channel and stuff. Maybe we could do a live stream or something. But let's go on to see what other people are saying. Yeah, so B Money said he works as a developer in Wall Street finance, and most of the people that he worked with are legal immigrants, getting the highest paying jobs in the U.S. But it's a skills gap that makes these people get jobs. All right, let's see. Hold on one second. Somehow this skipped. Hold on. Just bear with me a second. So BB said that African American males are being displaced by um, Latinos in construction industry and non-union jobs. I don't have much information about that, but I know that there have been studies done. For instance, the University of Pennsylvania did a study basically talking about how increased immigration leads to increased demand for goods and services, increased demand for construction of housing and stuff like that. And that generates more job opportunities. And that's a study that was done by the Wharton School of Business. So when I get a chance, I'll post a link to that in the description box. You know, actual studies are more reliable than you know um individual stories about like personal observations. That's not a study. That's not something that's reliable to use as a basis for making some kind of argument. You need to back up your arguments with actual evidence, and just like your own individual observations is not adequate evidence. I would take an objective study done by professionals more more seriously than just like somebody's personal observations um, in their particular community. So let's see what other people are saying. So B Money said that in the construction industry, conservatives are against unionizing, which would protect jobs of Black construction workers. Yeah, and that's true. I mean, a lot of these conservatives are implementing policies designed to destroy unions, in the name of things like right to work and all that kind of stuff. They're destroying unions and undermining the bargaining power of workers. When workers don't have much bargaining power, their positions can be easily replaced. They can lose their jobs and lose their security easily. Um, yeah, so let's continue on. Yeah, so B Money said they're going to finally recognize that he has mental issues. Yeah, it's like as long as he's speaking their talking points, they don't care like how much he rambles. They don't care about his ridiculous statements about alternate universes. They don't care about the fact that he got in that White House and instead of demanding anything of President Trump, this man basically uh, praised him and worshipped him and looked at him as some kind of father figure. None of that stuff matters as long as he was touting that pro-Trump nonsense, as long as he was talking about making America great again and how much he loves Donald Trump. The rest of the stuff was irrelevant. But now that he's challenging, them and, talking about how they used him and basically pimped him, now they're going to sing a different tune. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to recognize that he has mental issues. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to talk about how unstable he is. Let's see what happens on Fox News tomorrow. Let's see what these people had to say. Let's see what Candace Owens had to say, because this man basically called her out. He basically said that this woman tried to exploit his name to promote this Brexit thing. So let's see what he has to say about that. Just bear with me a second. Psycho said anyone who follows Kanye is just as confused as him. Yeah, so somebody said Kanye. Nikki Justice said Kanye has not been exploited. I disagree, man. He has been exploited. He has been exploited because these people are basically using his statements to make it seem like, that there's some great awakening among Black people, and they're trying to use him as a metaphor for the Black community, and they're using him and the publicity that he's generated around Black Republicans to try to change the outcome in these midterm elections. They used him to sell those products for Brexit, by saying, well, Kanye West helped design it. That's exploitation. Now, he was dumb enough to allow himself to be used and all that kind of stuff, which is a whole nother subject. Just bear with me a minute. Yeah, I'm just curious as to what they're going to say. I'm waiting to hear from those conservatives that supported him. They had all this stuff to say about how much they love Kanye West. And even some of these quote unquote conscious people. Like, I was watching this live stream where this brother was basically going on and on defending Kanye West nonsense, man. And you even have some of these quote unquote conscious people, like that guy Ben X or whatever, defending this stuff, like making excuses for Kanye West and all that kind of stuff, trying to rationalize this nonsense. His meeting with at the White House and all that other stuff. Now they really gonna look stupid now, man. Seeing him flop on his own position, man. I don't know how anybody can ride with Kanye West. This is a man who said, George Bush doesn't care about Black people, and then nowadays he's backing away from that statement, reneging on that statement, saying, well, I was thinking as a victim back then and this and that. So I really take what he says as a grain of salt. I'm not celebrating this moment at all because we know Kanye West just blows with the wind. One day he's saying one thing, the next minute he's saying another thing. So I agree with you, Psycho, man. These people that followed him and was all on his nuts and all that kind of stuff, they look real stupid right now. Yeah, so True Royal said he's crazy. His wife even says he has problems. Yeah, man, something's up with him, man. I mean, and his wife, man, you got to blame her too, man. You really do. Because, I mean, what real woman would let her husband go out there and make a complete ass of himself like that? I mean, what real woman wouldn't even like try to guide her husband and give him some counsel and say, well, hey, that maybe, may not be a good idea for you to go out to the White House and have a press conference. It may not be a good idea for you to be running around with this Make America Great Again hat. And, there's a little video of Snoop Dogg talking about this, like how this brother Kanye West needs a black woman in his life because a black woman ain't going to leave you out there like that. But anyway, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Hold on one second. Let me just read a couple of more comments before I sign out. Yeah, and Lonnie One Love said his wife is full of crap. She told blacks to get over a racist saying the N-word. Yeah, I don't remember too much about that, but I vaguely remember that issue. But yeah, it's just something else, man. All right, man. Well, I want to thank y'all for tuning in, man. I just had to get this off my chest, share my thoughts about this situation. Um, as y'all know, I've been doing these videos about Kanye West and these black conservatives, and this is just a part of that whole series. So let's see what those people say now that Kanye West is temporarily, and I have to highlight that word temporarily, out of the sunken place. So with that, say peace and blessings to each and every one of you.